Hello, everyone. My name is Josh Minahan, J Fresh, as you can see from the top. Measuring music with Minahan on the bottom, as you can also see. I have a special guest with me tonight. It's a lifelong friend, Bryant Fandel. Known him since we were kids. His parents gave away his Alien VHSs because it gave him nightmares. So, just so everybody knows that, feel free to comment in the chat. We see you there if you're there. If you're not, you're not. But, anyways, today it's going to be one of the final streams I have. It's going to be going over some of, kind of call it show and tell, kind of the prize pieces that me and him have in our collection, and what they're worth, why we like them, and what makes them worth what they're worth. Because if you know anything about vinyl, there's multiple pressings of the same record, different colors, different amounts made to each one, when they were made, all that kinds of stuff. So just kind of going over why certain records can be worth something, and you can have the same exact one, just a different pressing, and it's worth absolutely nothing. So I'm going to start things off today, and we are going to get right into this. Would be one of my prized pieces, if you will. And I know it's not a very big picture. Blow it up a little bit just for a second. That's it. And I'll show it to you here. It's the Dance Gavin Dance box set. One of my favorite bands. And this is it. Let me go ahead and get rid of the image so you can actually see it for a second. But yeah, this is it. It did not come autographed. I have gotten it autographed by all the band members plus two of the three lead singers. So it's one of my prized possessions. Yeah. Clap hands. Clap hands.
Why not?
Yeah. But if you go, and this is what our live action is for, if you go onto little thing that we call Discogs, let me see here. Oh, excuse me. And yeah, so right there, you can see that roughly what it's worth, medium, high, and stuff like that. High is close to $900 that it is sold for. Also, you can see that, oh, it doesn't show on here, but if you go into the actual app, it'll show you how much it has sold for recently. So you'll have more of an idea of like more recent, because sometimes it's like, oh, it's $800. Well, yeah, it hasn't sold for $800 since it came out. Now it's been repressed 110 times, but this is one of those things. This box set's never been repressed. It'll probably never be repressed. So, yeah, that I would say that was one of my prized pieces in my collection. I'll let Bryant pick his uh prize piece that he wants to talk about next.
I'm guessing next year yours is gonna get repressed. But one of mine is David Bowie, the man who sold the world.
Okay, that's it. Original pressing right there.
Yep.
A little bit bigger picture if you guys want to take a look. But yeah, Bryant, why don't you go ahead and tell us what makes that one? Because I know that one's been pressed multiple times.
Yeah. This is just an early Mercury pressing. It's just one of the earlier ones. Has a special cover of it. It's just one of those unique ones that's kind of harder to get. But yeah, it's just one of my favorites. Just old time. It's David Bowie. Who doesn't love him?
Yeah, no, I'm with you on that. I mean, David Bowie is a big fan of mine. I mean, I'm a big fan of his. He's probably a big fan of mine too, maybe. Yeah. I don't know. Maybe he watches the podcast in heaven. Yep. But I will say, I don't own any expensive Bowie, and I know you have that. And yeah, if we would have had my brother here, he could have done a whole hour-long episode with his expensive Bowie collection, because I think he's got the whole
catalog
7-inch that they put out for Record Store Day.
Yeah, yeah.
And I know one of those alone went for like $500.
Yeah, this one right here, this one. I mean,
yeah, tell us what that's worth.
The top price, is about $450.
And this is in really good condition for being an original pressing.
Yeah, that was one of the big reasons that I think I got a steal on it.
What year did you say that came out?
I can't remember.
I can't remember myself either.
Yeah, it doesn't say it on the back right away, but
I want to say it's mid 70s would have been this one.
Yeah, I thought 78, but
also really cool, because if you just something to look at. Like when these were pressed back in the day, it was just a piece of cardboard. Let me get this out of the way for a second. All right. Just something you can look at. So like compared to like let's say one of my newer ones, where if you look right on the edge there, it's all perfect and nice and beautiful and right on the seam. This one, because it was all printed as like one piece, it almost wraps around, and you'll notice a lot of the older pressings do this, where like they don't completely fit on the seam, they start to wrap around. So that's just a nice little fun piece to know about the older pressing because it's one whole sleeve. There were even times it was the Beatles one, correct? That they had the Butcher album
Yeah.
on, and all they did was just re-sleeve it.
Yeah.
So
Just
I mean,
glued
you
it.
literally could go and buy it re-sleeved, and there were people peeling it back off,
Oh, yeah.
and it was worth a lot of money. But then, like I think some were found, or I don't know. They've went down in price.
Yeah, a lot's been found since then.
I was gonna say
So,
originally those things were like $12,000.
yeah,
I mean,
they're
for like Butcher album in the condition of that.
yeah. I saw one in a record store where it was all water damaged and about
Mhm.
half of it was gone, and he still wanted about $400 for it. So
I knew one, and it was 750, no record in it.
yeah,
It was
this was
just
just sleeve.
yeah,
Yeah,
it was
just the
just
cover.
sleeve, and it was I wouldn't say I mean it was definitely beat up. You
Yeah.
know, like you're saying, like you could tell it had nobody had given a shit about the
Yep.
damn thing.
Yep.
So very interesting little piece of information there, which I will have something that also goes along the lines of the uh, had to change the cover. That's going to be one of my picks as well. But again, if you're just tuning in right now, oh, Nolan's there, Sarah's there.
Yeah.
They say you need to talk up because you're
I've
quiet.
been trying.
So put it to the roof. And everybody says that. I'm just used to talking loud because I do this stuff. But
You just talk loud.
I do also. So we'll move we'll move right along. And I'm gonna go with my next pick here, and that's gonna be my excuse me for having to turn away and pick up my record here. That's gonna be Nirvana Bleach. And everybody knows Nirvana Nevermind because oh smells like Teen Spirit, all the hits, and then In Utero with Heart Shaped
Yeah.
Box and Rape Me and all that. Oh, Diesel's gonna come visit us again. Good lord. But yeah,
Yes.
yeah, just it happened when Jarrell was here too. So just ignore Diesel. But anyways, this album was before that. This was their first album. Dave Grohl came into the mix after this album. Everybody knows Dave from one form or the other, whether it be his other bands or his recent Love Child he has had to come out and admit to having. So I will say this. This is one of my prize pieces. I did actually even pick this up here in Omaha. This is local. I didn't have to find this online or anything like that. And this is the 92 pressing. And I know a lot of people still got the plastic on it with the original price tag. Yeah, $9.
That's crazy. Yeah.
You couldn't even, I mean, you can't even buy a brand new record today for $9.
I have a few of them that say like 7 or something like
Yeah.
that. And it's crazy.
Yeah. And another thing you think about more about the more recent today records is I would say everybody does the colors, the splatters, the this and that.
Yep.
Back in early '90s, that wasn't really a thing. You weren't really doing stuff like that. Japan was. Japan's always been doing that stuff. They've got rare like '70s Beatles stuff that was on flexi red record for Christmas. It's crazy, but this is crazy for me because it is as original '92 on pink swirl.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, and he's got, I mean, way ahead of the time on that.
Yeah, yeah,
Way ahead of the time.
yeah.
On the color, on the idea, everything.
Yeah, because everything's on pink nowadays.
Yeah, I mean,
pink, pink, pink.
Yep.
I fucking hate pink.
No.
But I will tell you this: I picked this up for a steal, and we can check this out real quick over here on the live action. And if you look, I got it right there, and yeah, goes for about $555. And oh, whoops. Damn it. Technical difficulties. technical. We get them sometimes. But yeah, goes for about $550 nowadays. I paid nowhere near that. I
Yeah.
mean,
I think for my Bowie, I paid $60.
okay, so let's go over that quick. I guess we can let everybody know. Oh, and your mother-in-law's in.
Yeah.
At least we got some action.
Yeah.
But yeah, so you paid $60 for essentially what would be about a $450 record.
Yep.
If somebody knew what they were
If
getting.
they knew, yeah.
I would say my Dance Gavin Dance box set. I think I paid $175 for it, and again, it goes for about $900, and that's not autographed. I think I paid. I did. I paid up for the Nirvana one. I bought that at a record store here in town. $225 is what I paid for that, but almost doubled my return at this point. Diesel.
It's never gonna. I mean,
That's not going to go down.
It's not gonna go down.
No, there's always going to be Nirvana
forever.
fans.
Yep.
Yeah. So, what do you have next on the list here, Bryant?
This one is actually a joy for me and my wife both.
Okay.
This is Die Antwoord, and this is their album Tension.
Yeah.
So this is another.
We'll leave that up so everybody sees it. And
yeah,
is that a colored record as well?
No, I believe I can't remember.
I don't remember either.
This one is.
And I know
No.
I mean, I hate to speak on Bryant's behalf here, but this is a band from South Africa.
They're not too popular right now. There's been some controversy.
Yeah, well, hey,
it happens.
No publicity is bad publicity. I mean, or you know what I'm saying? Publicity,
Yeah.
So you look at it this way, people are still talking about them.
Oh yeah,
definitely still talking.
They just got a documentary come out, I believe, on Amazon that talks about their whole history. It's Ninja and Yolandi Foster. That's Ninja and Yolandi are the two band members, and they have a daughter, and 16 Jones. And they're actually 16 Jones and Ninja are the two that are doing this documentary on them.
Okay.
So it's pretty cool.
That is pretty cool. And the big reason this hasn't been repressed, has it? Is that
it's only been repressed once before, but this is the original 2012 version of it.
Okay. Yeah. And again, when you start getting into collectors like me and Bryant, the original pressings are always kind of like, for us, the more sought after one, because especially stuff that was made back then. Like I've got a couple other like Slipknot ones, and for me, the Subliminal Verses #3, having the original one back then from like 05 on black vinyl is worth more to me. But if you go to Discogs, you can see plain as day that the record store day clear one that was like the 10th anniversary, that one goes for twice as much of what mine goes for.
Yeah, I mean, this one I spent probably about $175. And
for one of your pricier ones that you've actually thrown the cash down for.
And right now this one's about at $450 again. But this is the numbered release, so it's a limited number item. So the new pressings, they just have a lot of them.
Yeah.
The first ones, they don't have nearly as many.
Right.
So.
Right. I will also have one of those limited ones coming up as well. Moving forward, get into what would be probably, I don't know, other than, I would probably say it's still worth more than Nirvana Bleach, especially because the number thing.
Yeah.
So hold on one second here, and let me bring it up for you. And this is the album that everybody probably knows, Green Day Dookie. Pretty much SoCal punk at its best. It's kind of like with Nirvana and stuff like that. When you have original fans, they're like, "Oh, this one. Oh, Sarah loves the fact that you showed Diane Antwoord."
Yeah.
Okay. I won't break it to you guys. They were just in Chicago like a couple weeks ago. But I did. There we go. But anyways, so this is one of those albums that this thing's been pressed more times than.
Yeah.
I mean,
especially their CD. I mean the vinyl, but CD too.
Yeah, both of them. I mean, millions and millions of copies. I mean, honestly, pressed more times than Bryant's mom. So, but this is the original, if you will, the original pressing, and it came from Germany because back in 92, 91, we weren't really pressing a lot, especially for punk.
Yep.
I mean,
Especially,
you had to be a high name.
you had to pretty much own the company and the band to press it.
Yeah, and even then, you had to be a maybe somebody that's already been being put on vinyl, like Tom Petty for years, and people like that, like Ozzy Osbourne. Big numbers. 10,000 of these made, and if you think about it, that was a lot then, but 10,000 now. That's Tyler the Creator. His new album just come out, and it was limited to 100,000 copies. The thing sold out in 3 days. Those records are going for $200. I don't know. It's down here somewhere. My son, who is a Tyler fan, he got it, and if you see that, out of 100,000 made, he got number 5,000.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
See, I wish I had the number for my Die Antwoord.
And some of them we don't have the number. We just know there's only X amount made.
Yep.
Which I'll show you on one of those. But this, again, ahead of its time, on I do believe, and it's still, I barely even play, still in the original sleeve. Yeah. So you can't really see through it very well, but it is see-through mildly. But for back in the day, that was impressive.
Yeah.
And then the other thing that makes this as impressive as what it is the back. And everybody, if you're a big Green Day fan, it's all about that guy right there.
Yep.
So Ernie is in the picture, and after this came out, the CD and the record, you can't not find it with Ernie on the back of it. If you do have it with Ernie on the back of it, you got a little bit of cat. Even the CD is about $100.
I got the CD actually, and that was a pretty good steal. I saw one, the CD version of that get sold on a auction site with all the signatures for about $500.
Yeah, I was in it till about 220, and then I actually quit paying attention, which is probably a good thing. Or we'd have been in it for probably a little bit, because those, I could tell those were legit. And the CD was signed as well as the front cover. So just to give you guys a little bit of an idea here, so there's where that Green Day sits by itself. Sits for about $265 medium and $675. And I can tell you this, that $675, the number on it is right around the 1,000 mark out of the 10,000 made. And if you noticed on mine is number 175. I've never, ever, ever seen one that low numbered sell. So
that's a big key.
Yeah, again, like I showed with the Tyler one, when it's a numbered one, everybody wants as low as they can get. And you're talking within the first 100, 200 made. So that's a big heavy piece there. This next one, I'm going to jump into mine first, and then you can jump into yours. Okay. So both of us picked a Mars Volta record, which is no surprise because we are both Mars Volta big fans. I mean, we've seen them multiple times. Seen their original band at the drive-in multiple times.
I saw them first, though.
Yeah, sure. But I'm going to show you mine first. Copycat, whatever. This one's mine. And this would be one of those that you know how many's made, but you don't know what number yours is. So there's 500 of these in existence. It's triple LP, comes with the single, so it's actually a 4 LP, and they're all glow in the dark. I'm not going to pull them out because it's a real pain in the ass. I would love to play one of my favorite records, but we will immediately get shut down on YouTube. If you go watch my first video, it's literally, I'm talking in like black screen. Yeah. And then I got 13 notifications from infringement on streaming live on YouTube the next morning.
That was awesome.
And it was up long enough for my teacher to watch it, grade it, and then it was taken down.
Excellent. That's all I need.
Yeah. It was bad. Which also led to a failure in my second stream. Not going to get into it. Long story short.
You can just dance, though.
I'm not going to dance. I haven't had any whiskey, and I got to have a lot to dance. So, but I will say, any of these bands easily accessible on YouTube. I usually put them in the link, but we had so many, I didn't want to overcrowd our bio for the video, and make it kind of sloppy. Last time I did, I got to figure out a better way to do that. But all these full albums on YouTube, and I don't pay nothing for. I mean, it's free.
Yeah.
So, I would say out of all these, I mean, Mars Volta is going to be my favorite, and yeah, it would be the extra song on there, which is not say Francis the Mute, the title track that they left off the album. I'm
Whatever.
It is a 14-minute epic long song, but why you would leave an epic title track out there? And we saw it live.
Yeah.
Which it's only been played like I think 20 times ever.
Yeah.
Yeah. So again, a lot of cool things we've seen with Mars Volta. This actually does come with a red sleeve. I got mine put away just because they're really fragile, and even to find one in mint condition nowadays is hard. And I got mine a year after it came out, and it was in a little, it's not in rough, but I mean, it had splits, and every one I've been able to find has splits. So I don't want to take it out.
Yeah.
But that one, again, that's one of those ones that goes right around the $500 range, you know, something like that. So then we got, and that's Volta's second album.
Yeah.
So Bryant brought over their first album.
Yeah.
That one right there.
Personally is my favorite album, probably of all time. I think it's one of the greatest single albums ever made, besides, you know, maybe behind a Zeppelin album. But these are, I mean, this one has been ranked as being one of the best albums of all time, and
See, we both have it.
in the top category of it. So this is their debut. This is after they went from At the Drive-In to the Mars Volta. And
again, this is something weird because this came out in 2003. So not a lot of records at all being pressed in 2003. And again, this is another one that we know how there's 1,000 of them, I do believe, on this silver picture disc. And you can get it repressed in the silver, but it does not have that black rim right there. So again, another one of those things. And very sought after. I mean, any Mars Volta record up until last year when they repressed their entire catalog, these were some of the hottest records to find.
I couldn't believe that. I was on an auction site.
What'd you get yours for?
I got mine for around I think it was just around the $200. It wasn't much more than that.
So about half of what?
Half what it's worth right now. It's at that $550 mark on Discogs.
And yours came with, again, they come with a poster.
Yep. Yeah.
And,
mine surprisingly came with everything.
Like a printed picture sleeve. Which,
yeah.
Again, is a very unheard of thing.
But the one damage, biggest damage, is a common thing among albums. You can't
put it in
help.
Oh, let me take this off. Hold on. We gotta make it look good. You gotta see this.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just
so do you
right
see those
there.
white lines there?
Those are breaks in the vinyl. It's just, in my opinion, the vinyls are too thick. They have too much material in there,
and they don't make the sleeves like they used to.
And they don't. And with as much art and everything in ink, I think they're just bound to crack. They're bound to split. But it's the worst thing that can happen.
Volta pressed everything on 180 gram vinyl, which is like
the best
hi-fi vinyl. It's super heavy. Now this is the one thing that Brian didn't have with his, and this is the book.
I'll get it.
And this was like a promo piece that came. I don't know if you bought the record at a record store, but the book alone is about $300. So, yeah, that is one of those. That is pretty much a grail for like a Mars Volta record fan. Is that book? I mean, that book is that hard to find. I know I paid $160 for it, and that was years ago. That was years ago. Chloe says,
"Thank you, Chloe."
I love the interaction. I love it. I love it. And Bryant showed his 3 that he brought. I had 1 left, and we're just gonna show it real quick. And this is the one that I was talking to you all about a deleted cover. So I
had this,
and I got this before it went crazy. It was very obtainable. You had to pay a little bit for it, but right now, where Guns N' Roses is at, it's like a $5 record, which about it, I think I paid $150, which is a steal. I mean, the record's meant. So if anybody doesn't know who GNR is, that's them in the back. Axl Rose. And one funny thing about this record, a lot of people don't know this. You got to read Slash's autobiography for this. Slash was so messed up on heroin when they wrote this. He had to go to rehab. So this whole thing was recorded without him.
Mm-hmm.
He had to go into a studio by himself with the headphones and record his part. And it's that fucking amazing.
Yeah.
Imagine if he wouldn't have had to, if they would have been able to be together. And like he even says, he's like, I listen to it now and I can hear where I should have been a little bit closer on parts and stuff like that. But it's just crazy to hear stuff like that, you know.
Yep.
It's very interesting. Because they're still together to this day, and the animosity they've went through, and still been able to pull out amazing music. What I'm talking about is Appetite for Destruction, and that is their very first album. This is it, the original picture, and everybody's like, "That's not what I have."
Yeah.
I got the cross with the skulls around it, and no, this is the original one. It was on the shelf for very few days, and then it was yanked off. As we won't keep it up there, but it is a robot raping a woman. And this is an actual painting, and the title of this painting was Appetite for Destruction. So, again, Axl Rose and all those guys really messed up on drugs, but they were really creative people.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, using stuff like that. Again, I know it's controversial. I'm just saying more like they were a fan of art. You would have had to be looking at art to find this.
Hey, look at the Beatles' Butcher Baby album. I
Yeah.
mean, if you look up that album, it's literally one of
Them
the
with baby
craziest
parts.
things. Yeah, one of the craziest things you'd ever think to find the Beatles doing.
Yeah,
So,
and one of the and the biggest thing with that is GNR. I think they were just going for more shock value because that's GNR.
Yeah.
But if you get into the Beatles side of the thing, which both of us wish we had that so we could show you, their whole thing was that was them fighting back at the record labels for cutting up their stuff and making them into different albums and stuff like that, and not letting them have control. So it was kind of like a stance. And again, that sat on the shelf for 2 days at Sears, and it was pulled. After that, you couldn't get it. And they reskinned those. So that's the harder thing, is to have one of those that hasn't had the skin pulled off it. This, on the other hand, this is pressed in nowadays standards, and you couldn't reskin something like this.
Yeah, I mean they repressed this, and I mean this is what the original, and you know they have stuff kind of all over the place.
Oh, and they have redone this.
Yeah,
they have also redone this because things have lightened over the years or whatever. I will say this: my one little default, that one little nick right in the top there. But again, this thing does. If you want to take that off, about $450, $475 all day for this. And one other thing, and this comes kind of with all vinyl, especially when you get into the rare ones. So Bryant knows about it when you get into Led Zeppelin, Pink Floyd, stuff like that. Beatles. If it was pressed, if they're a UK band, the UK first pressing is going to be worth more than the US first pressing. Unless something
crazy, but usually it's the Plum label on the
on your older ones.
On the record. If it's a Plum record, those were the ones to get. I mean, those are the high dollar,
right,
badass ones. So,
and another one, obviously, I showed you Nirvana Bleach. Nirvana Nevermind goes for about $1,000. The first pressing. It's known as one of the best sounding albums ever. On like that pressing, there's something about it. Again, I've been into records a long time. I listen to a lot, but sometimes I can't hear that distinctive a difference.
You need to get into higher quality equipment and things like that.
And that,
right, because the material was made from trees that are very old in different parts of the world that made the resin, the material, just it was made a different way, and it just sounded different.
Right. And so even with that one, I know I had a UK version of Nirvana Nevermind, and it's worth about right now it's worth about $250, but at the time it was worth about $150, and I sold it to Bryant here for like $50 because he's my buddy, and I like seeing my things go somewhere rather than, I mean, I'm not afraid to take them down to Homer's and hawk them for some cash, but I would rather see my friends benefit and have something like that. But that being said, even when I sold him that, a first pressing US copy, because they're a US band, was selling for like $750, $800.
Yeah.
So it's one of those
It's
things.
yeah.
It's kind of where they're more popular. I mean, that being said, our Mars Volta records, they're gonna sell more over here
Than
for the
anywhere
most
else.
part than
Yeah.
anywhere else. They are really big in Japan. I will say
Yeah,
that.
they're huge in Japan, but I mean, I think it's their the help with the Chili Peppers because like on my first album, Flea is actually playing the bass for it in the entire album,
And the one
and
I showed, Flea plays all the trumpet parts.
yeah, there you
So
go.
again, if you know Red Hot Chili Peppers, Flea and Omar, longtime friends. Again, if you get deep into it, salvaged the Mars Volta. If you want me to be honest, they Cedric and Omar completely didn't even want to talk to each other, and they actually met back up at Flea's house and actually started another band called Animask, and that was pretty much them getting back in together. Mars Volta touring again, At the Drive-In touring again, all kinds of stuff. But I mean, sitting here with about 8 records in front of us, with about
Couple bucks.
yeah, 3 grand, somewhere in that realm, 3,500. Hopefully, you didn't see the price of what my Discogs is worth when you were clicking on there. Let's put it that way. People looking through my windows. Uh, but it's better than spending your money on drugs, kids. At least it's got something to show for it. But again, I appreciate everybody chiming in the comments, all the Fandel and Opine family. I appreciate that, you guys. Um, again, Bryant, thank you for coming over tonight and doing this one with
Yeah,
me and
you're lucky.
showing some of your sweet. Oh yeah, so lucky. Showing some of your sweet pieces there. And again, if you want to check out more stuff, Measuring Music with Minahan and Jay Fresh at 1830. I also have a podcast with my other friend Jay Real, and we are sports guys. So the Real Fresh podcast. You've seen us on this channel as well. We double down on the same channel. So next show, whenever Bryant wants to come back over and do another one, I'm always available to do another
Yeah.
sweet record review, um, something
Huh?
like that. But it gets him out of the house because he's a little
Yeah,
shut
I'm a homebody.
when he doesn't get out, he gets cranky.
I
So
do.
everybody's got to be careful of Bryant. But yeah, we'll keep everybody posted. Actually, if you go out and follow JFresh at 1830 on Instagram, you'll be notified anytime we go live. So quick shout out to everybody in the chat. And again, my host Bryant, and we're out of here, guys.
Yeah.
Thank you.